Few things. The aggravated assaults. The first one, that was a guy that was stabbed, actually a teenager. The call came in a little after 3 a.m., and this was to an apartment building in the 3500 block of South Marion Avenue. There had been some type of, I guess I would just call it an altercation in the hallway of these apartments between a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old. Both boys, the 19-year-old used a knife and stabbed the 16-year-old in the stomach. The 16-year-old went back to his apartment in that same building and was taken to the hospital by a family member. There was somebody else in that apartment that basically kind of looked out into the hallway, heard some commotion, and the same suspect threw a chunk of asphalt at the victim, striking her in the arm. No serious injuries with that. The suspect was found in a different apartment, and he was arrested for 2 counts of aggravated assault and false impersonation, and then they also found some meth. I think he had a pipe or something, syringe, in his pocket, so some residue. So he was arrested for the possession of controlled substance as well. The injury to the 16-year-old was described as non-life-threatening. He obviously went to the hospital and received some medical treatment, but I haven't heard any updates or any change in that condition.
Can we get the suspect's name there?
Yep. His last name is Leroy, L-E-R-O-Y. First is Jacob, J-A-C-O-B. Middle is Henry, H-E-N-R-Y. And he's 19 from Sioux Falls.
And second victim, what was her age?
Second victim is 18, and she is from Sioux Falls as well.
Now, did someone call police on this incident, or was it when the 16-year-old arrived at the hospital the report was made?
Both, actually. Yeah. So somebody at the building, there was a few people that heard the commotion. I'm not exactly sure who called, but there was a call to that apartment building, and then when the victim showed up at the hospital, then the hospital also called. So the 2 calls came in relatively soon after each other. Good on that. The other aggravated assaults, 2 of them were domestic strangulation cases, and the last one was a late report. That was a guy that was jumped. He had really just vague information on the suspects. The arson, that was a fire that was found inside an apartment. We just have a report at this point in time as they investigate it. Counterfeiting was a fake $100 bill that was passed. The disorderlies, not much there. A couple involved juveniles, a couple of other disorderly conduct reports, but nothing real big. The embezzlement was a car that was loaned out. Family disputes are all reports. The frauds, credit cards, ID thefts, some other reports. Larcenies, a lot of shopliftings, a few unlocked cars, but nothing high dollar taken. Narcotics, no big quantities on those. The robberies, the first one, a guy was punched and had his backpack taken. No suspects on that. He had a vague description, no serious injuries. The second one, that was early this morning, that was on Marion Road, just near I-90. Our victim had left the interstate and saw there was 4 men, boys. He thought they were teenagers. I don't have any idea of ages, but they basically flagged him down. When he stopped, they said they needed a ride, and he said, yeah, not a problem. As they were getting into the car, one of them opened the driver's door, pulled him out, and then they drove away with his car. So haven't been found yet, but no serious injuries to the victim.
Do we have a description of that vehicle's one?
That one, yes. That is a 2004 gold Buick Regal. And it ended up, they got back on the interstate and drove to the west. So it was on I-90 is when it was last seen. Sex offenses, both of those are reports. Nothing big from the simple assaults, and just had the one vandalism, but nothing big from that. That's all I have, unless you guys have anything else.